Hey guys, just gonna talk about the game I've been working on so far. The game is like a Final Fantasy Tactics type game or any other sort of grid-based strategy RPG. Right now I've been working on like sort of a map editor for the game and not so much of the core game programming itself and like character modeling and stuff, just more of like testing out my game programming skills for a map editor. So I'll show you what I mean in a second. So this is the start screen, kind of. This is what happens when you first start the game. This is in no way, shape, or form the final build of the game. um, so you can pick a grid size right here. So it goes from 5 to 20. And I may change that depending later. Usually I just make a 10 by 10 and call it good. So I'll start with a 10 by 10. So here's our 10 by 10 grid. As you can see, it's 10 this way, 10 that way, and yeah. So I'll talk about the controls for a second. Right now I'm pushing the A key, and the A rotates this way, the D key rotates this way, and then W zooms you in, S zooms you out, and then key rotates the camera around this way, E rotates the camera around this direction, and R will reset your camera just in case you have it all messed up and can't figure out how to get to a place you want to be. So you just push R, you're back here. Here's the Z key, and then X. As you can see, it looks like the same rotation as the others, but I just had the camera rotated around. So like Q, E. I may change this later and have like some sort of gizmo that you can rotate for a more tool looks, but right now for testing purposes this works. So now I'm going to talk about the tools a little bit. So here's the light tool. It's very bare bones right now. Right now you can only affect the ambient light in the scene. So max ambient light, no ambient light, or very minimal. And this is like a good neutral right in here, sort of like a daylight sort of view. And eventually I'll have like different light sources you can place, like torches, lanterns, etc., and maybe just invisible lights, and all sorts of other things. I think daylight will probably even just be determined by the game, depending on how I set up a day-night cycle and weather and such, but that's way in the future. This train tool is sort of the most of the programming that I've done, and I came about this in many different approaches, and I finally decided on just doing cubes for now. And I may change that later to make like mounds that you can add on and form better looking terrain. But for now we'll just do cubes. So as you can see, all I do is left click and I place a cube over whatever tile I have hovered. So like if I click on this one side right here, it builds out this direction. Let me get a better angle so you can see it, if I can even figure out my own control scheme. As you can see, there's a little bit of a soft shadow, which is something that I've added, or Unity's added, I guess. So there, I made like a little wall of dirt. Looks very Minecrafty, but I'm going to try to get away from that, like I said. And you can add different amounts. Oh yeah, if you right click on the cube, it'll disappear. So you can make a little hole here. And it's also a way to make the map bigger if you needed. So next tool I'll talk about, or the next part of the tool I'll talk about is this little slider. It's pretty basic. You just slide how much you want to add at a time, and you click, and it builds. So if I want to make like a quick tall wall, instead of having to click each of these, I just add 5. And the only way to erase right now is just one at a time. So I may change that depending. I don't know yet. Alright, the next tool is the paint tool. As you can see, it's a little bit more visually appealing. So this up here is the currently selected texture. And we have all these different textures to look at. And oh, there's the dirt texture. Oh, that's weird. But anyways, I'll look at that later. For your programmer types, this is a circular linked list. So pretty much it just loops around forever, because once you get to the end of the list, you just go right back to the beginning. So pretty basic. So I'll just show you the snow. So you just hold down, click, and you paint. I don't have to keep clicking, I can just hold down and it automatically paints. So as you can see here, well, I'll go at a better angle. It's like there's a slight bump map on the textures. Each texture has a little bit of a bump map. So maybe it's easier to see. There, it's got to go back in. Can't figure out my own controls. So the snow is a little bit too bumpy in my opinion, but you know, these textures are probably just temporary, and depending on what sort of art style I decide to go with the game, then these textures may change. So anyways, there's all these different textures you can paint however you want. These are all courtesy of CG Textures and a few various other free texture databases that I found off of Google. Some mud or whatever this is. I'm guessing it's mud. Whatever. And I'll also have sort of a folder that I won't sort of have it. I will have a folder that users can drop their own custom textures in, and then they'll be added to this list. So, oh yeah, and the paint